Good afternoon and welcome to another inReach Field Experience webinar. Today we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the inReach Mini, talking a lot about the device, the app that it pairs with, and the website that we use to set up and manage the system. So get started. My name is Chip Noble. I'm the product manager here at Garmin. I'm an avid outdoorsman, as you can see by this photo of a fly fishing trip a few years back, and I'm an inReach Mini user. The team asked me for a picture with the inReach Mini, and I went through everything. And it's such a small device. Sometimes it's hard to find a photo where it's prominent. But you see the little call-out picture. I did have an inReach Mini around my neck while I was fishing on a lanyard, and so today we're going to be talking all about it. And really, that's the special feature about the Mini. It's 3.5 ounces. It's discreet. It's small. You can use it for all kinds of different activities, paired to all kinds of Garmin products, your phone, different things. And so we're going to do a deep dive, really get into how the system works. So to start, I want to do a little overview of the key features. What is it that makes the inReach Mini special? I already mentioned with my fly fishing picture, it is all about the size of this device. It is palm sized at 3.5 ounces. It's very light. It's still rugged, but that makes it a great device for activities like hiking or trail running or mountain biking, things where you want a nice, small, discrete device. It does use the Iridium satellite network for inReach satellite communication. That means that it will keep you connected wherever you are. That is for messaging, location sharing, safety, all of those special inReach features. We'll dive into those during the webinar. The device pairs with the EARTHMATE app. That is an app for your phone that will control the device. It's the user interface when you're using your phone that gives you access to maps, charts, imagery, lots of things for planning and for navigating, reviewing. Great product there. We'll talk about the EARTHMATE app. It also has wireless connectivity, uses ANT+, so that you can connect your inReach remotely, control it, remotely with your Garmin device, like your Garmin Phoenix wearable, or things like your cycle computer or your chart plotter. Lots of different Garmin devices connect to the inReach Mini. We will look at the battery performance of the device. It has an internal rechargeable lithium-ion battery that gives you up to 90 hours. That's in a default 10-minute tracking mode. We're going to look at some settings that you can change to even extend that battery life further, different send intervals, those sort of things. While small, it is still rugged. It has a water rating of IPX7. That means that you can submerge the device down to a depth of 3 feet for 30 minutes. That handles all kinds of activities, stream crossings and situations where it gets wet. 3 feet for 30 minutes, and it is impact resistant as well. So some core features about the inReach Mini. Now, we also like to take some time and talk about the inReach technology. This is really the capabilities of all of the inReach devices, whether we're talking about the Mini, the GPS Map 60 series, the Montana, Alpha. All of our inReach devices use the Iridium satellite network that gives you 100% global satellite coverage. That is for your messaging, it is for your tracking, it is for your for SOS. And that's all over satellite. So you don't need to have a cell phone connection for the system to work. That's an important piece we want to make sure everyone realizes. inReach technology gives you two-way messaging. Not only can you send your message, someone can receive it and reply to you. That is how you know that your message was delivered to the Iridium satellite and to the server. So two-way messaging, very important. I mentioned SOS already. If you have an emergency, you can declare the SOS by pressing and holding the SOS button. We will look at that later in the slides, and that will send a message to the Garmin IERCC, the International Emergency Response Coordination Center. System is capable of tracking. That sends a location update from your device to your MapShare page where friends and family can follow along. That message will go out by default. It's every 10 minutes. If you have expedition mode, you can get higher intervals up to 2 minutes. Navigation, the devices are capable of doing basic navigation. You can create a route and follow that. You can navigate to a waypoint. That's on all of our inReach devices. You can also get a weather forecast. This is exciting for people who are out for long periods of time and want to know either a land forecast or a marine forecast. You can also get forecasts with different number of days with a basic or a premium forecast. So we're going to look at all of these things. An important detail that we like to talk about, make sure people understand, is these inReach features do require an active satellite subscription. We'll look at data plans when we go through the presentation. It's also important to remember that there are some jurisdictions, some countries in the world that regulate or even prohibit the use of satellite communication devices like inReach. We want everyone to remember that it's your responsibility as you plan your bucket list trip to research and know the applicable laws in those areas. We don't want anyone to have any challenges while they're traveling. So do that research ahead of time so that you are prepared. So if we jump in from there, we'll go to the next, here we go. Looking at the device overview here, this screen is showing the front of the inReach Mini and the different buttons and how things are controlled. There we go. So looking at obviously the top of the device, that's the Iridium antenna. That is where the GPS and Iridium antenna are. And the important piece there, we want to make sure that has a clear view of the sky. We want that pointed up. Think of it as an antenna that has a signal that comes out like a mushroom cloud. That's what we talk about, the top of a mushroom. And so that signal is pointed up towards the sky. And the only place on a helical Iridium antenna where there's poor signal is directly out of the bottom of the device. So you want to keep it oriented up. Be careful when you put it in your pack that it doesn't get jostled and turned around upside down, because then your signal is going down towards the ground. So keep that in mind. As we move down the device, you see the power button on the right screen, the arrow pointing to the power button. That is positioned in the notch between the top of the antenna and the side of the device. That protects it from accidental button presses in your pack, that sort of thing. Press and hold that power button to turn the device on. On the left side of the device, you have your scrolling up and down arrows. That is used when you are traveling through the menus and through the interface. That's on the left side, up and down. And then on the right side, you have the OK or select or enter button on the top, and then below that is the back button. So if you think about holding it in your hand, you can press up and down with your fingers, and you can press OK and back with your thumb. It's a pretty convenient way, excuse me, to hold and interact with the device. There's a micro USB on the left side that is under a weatherproof cap, and then the SOS button, which is on the right side there, and that is also under a protective cap so that we don't have to worry about accidental button presses when should the device get pressed or squeezed in your pack. That's a rugged protective cap on top of the SOS button. From there, when we look at the home screen on the device, there's a menu bar at the top. And I'll wait just a second for that slide to update for everyone. But what we have are the device icons listed here on this slide. And you see what you would see in the header bar. Sending and receiving data is the up arrow. There is also an arrow that shows that you're in tracking mode. We have symbols that represent if you're Bluetooth connected to your phone, the ANT plus symbol if you're connected to a wearable, other symbols around charging and charging the battery or completed charging. So these icons just trying to help people understand what you might see in the header bar. There are a couple of other icons that could appear around cold weather if the device is too cold to charge or too hot to charge. There are also warnings that would appear on the display to help you through those kind of situations. But these are the icons that you would see in the header bar. From here, we're going to take a look at the primary screens. These are the screens that will show up as you use the up and down arrow to move through the pages on the device. The home page, this is the main page of the device when you're using it, and it's where your most important information will appear. So if you have messages waiting, you'll see a count. This display shows that there are 2 messages waiting. It also shows that the person is tracking. They've traveled 4.2 miles. Homepage shows some of that basic information. The next screen is the messages screen. This is where you would go to see any incoming messages. You can see your conversation threads, all the different people that have been messaging with you. Just like your phone, you pick a conversation thread and you can see the conversation details. And then from those conversation details, you can enter a conversation, you can type your reply or read their response. From there, from the messages page, the next one is mail check. And mail check is where you go to see when was the last time that my inReach device connected to the server, connected to the Iridium satellite, and look to see if there were any messages. And so in this screen, we show that if you press OK, it will go and do a mail check, and then it will tell you the last time it successfully connected to the satellites. The tracking page is the next one showing, and this is just a status report from the last time that you started tracking and how far you've traveled and your average speed. And when you enter this page, that's where you go to control starting and stopping tracking. The next screen is for, it's showing you basic navigation. It's a compass view, and it shows you how far, excuse me, it's a heading arrow showing you how far to go to the car. It's 0.8 miles away, and this is the view that would appear when you were navigating. This next view, when it appears, is the compass view, and this is where you can view your heading and your speed. And I apologize, the navigation view is your bearing arrow, not your heading arrow. But the compass view showing your heading and your speed. And because the inReach Mini, unlike the GPS Map 66i, does not have sensors, you do need to be moving in order for your compass view to update. But there is a prompt, there's a little animation that shows you that you need to move to have this information update. The last primary screen is the weather screen, and this is the screen where you can go to view basic and premium and marine weather forecasts. You'll see the condition, whether it's cloudy or sunny. If it's raining, it'll give you the time of day that it's representing, the temperature, and your % chance of precipitation. And so that is a very useful view as well for people. Additional features on the device, there is a utilities page, which this slide will appear in a second. And to access utilities, you just go from, you press OK from the home screen and you scroll down to utilities. When you access utilities, it gives you access to features like a test service. The test service is very important. We encourage everyone to use this when they go out for a hike. If they haven't used the device in a while, perhaps they suspended their data plan and they reactivated. We want to make sure people test the device. And what that does is it sends a message to the Iridium satellites. The satellite sends it down to the server, and then it echoes a response back to the device, and it just gives you a reassuring check mark that says everything's ready for you to go out on your hike. It's tested the round trip system. You can send 5 free test messages each month. Encourage you to do that, just testing your Iridium service. There's also the ability to go and view your contacts. Remember, while you can connect your inReach Mini to your phone and use the phone contacts, the contacts that are loaded on your phone, you should also move your most important family and friends contacts to your inReach Mini. Just in case something happens to your phone or you choose not to bring it, you want to have access to contacts to send messages when you're out on your trip. There's also a data use view in utilities. That's where you can go to see how many messages have you sent, how many track points, that sort of thing. It allows you to monitor your plan details. For people who are in the safety plan or the recreation plan, there's 10 or 40 messages depending on your plan. Unlimited tracking in recreation, but it's a useful way to go and look at how much you've been using the device. We'll look at the plans in a bit and remind people the expedition plan is a great one, because then you don't have to worry about how many messages. There's unlimited messaging in that plan. The setup option is also available in that menu, and when you go to setup, this is a great place to access all the little details that let you fine tune the device. For myself, as soon as the setup view appears for everybody, this is where you control things like your tracking settings. I use tracking to to enable the auto start feature so that when I turn on my device, tracking automatically starts. I encourage that for anybody that has the recreation or above plan. It's also where you go to pair your inReach Mini to your phone using Bluetooth. It's where you go to enable ANT+. That is the feature I mentioned that allows me to connect my Garmin wearable, my Phoenix watch, to the inReach Mini. So tracking Bluetooth ANT+, there are also other settings here that you may look at, sound, display, you name it. But setup is accessed by pressing OK from the home screen. We will talk about battery life. This is a very important topic. We've shared that at the 10-minute tracking interval, you can get up to 90 hours of battery life. But there are also things that you can do, like change your tracking send interval to 30 minutes. If you change it to 30 minutes and enable the extended tracking mode, you can get up to 24 days of battery life. That's a great option for people who are doing long distance trekking or just don't have access to recharge the device as frequently. It does things like turn off high detail logging, it turns off Bluetooth, it turns off some of the things that might have an impact on the battery. So anywhere from up to 90 hours if you're using that default 10-minute send interval, or if you go up to 30 and use extended tracking, you get up to 24 days. The other important details, you see here the operating specs for the device. That shows the operating temperature, -4 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, charging temperature as well. A little more about charging. The device can be charged with a solar charger or with a portable power bank. And the only thing that's necessary, the charging source needs to provide 5 volts of charging power. When we talk with the team, they remind me that really any device nowadays that you can plug a USB cable into for your solar power, solar panel, I should say, solar panel, or your battery bank, then it would support the inReach Mini. Looking at the operating temperature, the minimum operating temperature for the inReach Mini is -4 degrees Fahrenheit. So the important detail there is make sure, especially with winter approaching, the weather's it's getting colder out. Certainly take the inReach Mini with you, but you could keep it in a chest pocket inside of your jacket. You could keep it in a shoulder pocket, someplace where it's closer to your body, where it can get some of that body warmth, the temperature from inside of the coat. All electronics with batteries, they really just don't like the cold, and it will degrade the battery performance when they're cold. So just keep it inside of a jacket pocket. The last note here is around the storage of the device if you're not planning to use it. So say your activities, your season does actually end in the fall and you're not using it in the winter, make sure you charge the battery to about 80%, and then you can put it in the drawer and wait until the spring. When you get the device out of the drawer, then you want to charge it up to 100% before your first trip. One of the things that's important for us to talk about with the inReach Mini is the keyboard. While the device's primary use is connected to your phone or connected to a Garmin device or a wearable, it certainly does have a keyboard built into it. And the features for that, it's a scrolling keyboard, referred to a vertically scrolling list of letters and numbers and symbols. And so what you can do is use the up and down arrow to select the letter that you're trying to type, and then you press OK, and then you move on to the next letter. It is not the fastest mechanism, but if you have forgotten your phone, or the battery has died, or your phone is damaged for some reason, this will allow you to type out basic messages and send them to friends and family, or in an emergency to communicate with search and rescue. So slow but powerful if it's the only way that you have to input text with the device. And then at the top of each keyboard, so the uppercase letters or the lowercase letters or the numbers or the symbols, there are a set of symbols on each of those scrolling keyboards that let you move between the keyboards. It also lets you put in a space. It lets you put in a backspace. It lets you move the cursor left or right there when that shows up. So that view is at the top of each of your keyboards, and it's an important part of learning how to send messages just with the device. We'll have a slide in a little bit that talks about the autocomplete for typing a word, and then also we will suggest a word, and we'll show you how to do that as well. From here, I'd like to look at the Explore website. And the Explore website, as I mentioned, this is where all of our users, people will go for managing things like your inReach subscription, where we'll go to manage planning your trips and reviewing your trip. It's also where you can go to import data. So if you're planning a big trip and you've done some research on other websites, maybe you know someone who has captured a bunch of data and they've put it out there in a GPX or a KML. These are files that people use to store waypoints or routes and courses. You can bring that into the website as well. So we'll look at how do you manage your subscriptions, and then how do you plan and review and import. All of that is done through the Explore website. That's explore.garmin.com. And so to manage the account, when you go into the Explore website, the account tab at the top, it's over on the far right side, and that is where you will gain access to things like your account information, billing, email, emergency contacts. These are important things to put in, because remember that the Garmin IERCC will use this information in the case of an emergency. We've talked about that in our SOS webinar. So make sure that you have your correct emergency contacts in there, and you review it before your big trips come up, and just make sure that it's accurate. There's also a section for emergency notes. Great place to write any additional details you want the IERCC to know about should you have an emergency. The plans and devices section of the Explore website, that's where you go to manage your device. It's where you go to update your inReach subscription. And you can see from the little dialog here, there are 3 different plan levels: the safety plan, recreation plan, expedition. You can move your device in and out of the different plans without any penalty for moving up and down. I encourage people to do this when they say they have a big bucket list trip coming up and they know they're going to send a lot of messages to friends and family. If that's the case, then you should definitely upgrade into the expedition plan. As soon as your trip is over, you can drop back into a safety or recreation plan. That will happen in the next billing cycle. So it's a good idea to plan around that, so you don't pay overages while you're out on the big trip, and then you can drop back into the lesser plan when you return home. So that's managing your subscription plan. There are also instructions on the plan and devices section for how to install updates and sync your device, and that can all be done either with an app or with the desktop app, and we'll look at that in a minute. So the instructions on how to do that just appeared, and that's all done also through the Explore app. Instructions for that through the Explore app. We're going to look at the EARTHMATE app next, and the EARTHMATE app is the companion app that is available to use with the inReach Mini and some of the inReach Explorer Plus, the SE Plus. Important note for people that the EARTHMATE app works with the Mini, while the Explorer app is the app that works with devices like the GPS Map 60 series or the Montana. But we're going to focus in on the EARTHMATE app, and this is the app that you'll use for pairing. We'll use it for all of the inReach features around starting and stopping tracking, navigating, writing a message, receiving, that sort of thing. Weather forecast, all of it will happen if you're using your phone through the, excuse me, through the EARTHMATE app. It's also where you can go to download additional map types. We have topographic maps, we have aerial imagery, quad sheets, public lands, lots of really useful maps for any type of activity. The last piece, the EARTHMATE app, is where you will go to sync data from the website to the app and then onto your inReach device. So really think about the app as the hub that connects the inReach Mini to the Garmin cloud for moving data back and forth. Instructions for how to pair, because obviously the most important thing is that you successfully pair your inReach Mini to your EARTHMATE app. And we have the instructions for iOS and for Android listed here. They both start with a similar process. You go into the inReach Mini and you go to that Bluetooth option in setup that we looked at, and that Bluetooth option puts the device into the right mode so that it's ready to connect to the app. And then from there you go to the EARTHMATE app for iOS and Android, and you may see slightly different instructions depending on your device. Follow the instructions in the app, and that will allow the app to hear the inReach Mini, which is using Bluetooth to broadcast its ability to sync. So once you have initiated syncing and have successfully connected your Mini to your phone, then you will have access to syncing updates and the changes that you've made either in the Explore website or the EARTHMATE app. Those will sync down to the inReach Mini. It will also take any data that you've created on the Mini and move it up to the Explore website. So it's, again, as I said, it's the conduit to move content from the device to the cloud. We encourage everyone, it's very important to sync your inReach Mini before you go out on your trip. Everything from waypoints or routes that you might have created, those need to be synced to the device. Any contacts you've created, changes you might have made to your preset or quick text messages, which we'll look at. That sync step is critical, and you know, I do it before I go out on any trip. It's just kind of my workflow. I will look at my app, make sure I have the maps that I need, make sure that the adventure that I've planned is showing up correctly in the app. I'll sync it to the device, make sure that those waypoints and things are down there. So definitely do that before you head out. And then look at the device. I think that's the last piece. You want to go into the device and verify that your waypoints and you know, your maps on the app, all of those things are there. And then after you finish your trip, when you get home, it's also a good idea to sync your inReach Mini to your EARTHMATE app and make sure your EARTHMATE app has a chance when it's inside cellular to sync that data up to the Explore website. And that way you know that any new content, your breadcrumb trail, all those things have been brought up to the cloud. So to the Garmin cloud. So then syncing with the app itself, when you look at the app, you can go into the app to the menu and you'll see My inReach, and that My inReach is a useful entry in that menu because it lets you know if you are connected, if your inReach Mini is connected to your app on your phone, and you'll see a little Bluetooth symbol. That's great because it will tell you the device is connected. It will tell you the battery life. It will do the syncing. The syncing happens automatically when you're connected. And like I said, that syncs from device to the app to the website. You need to have cellular data or Wi-Fi. And then the steps to do that are right there. Select My inReach from the menu. There is also a tool that is that's available. That is the inReach Sync app that is on your computer, on your desktop. So if you want to use a USB cable to connect your inReach Mini to your computer, you can do that. And then that app will also sync your user data, your waypoints, tracks, routes, plan details, that sort of thing down to the device. And much like with the app approach with your phone, just make sure you look at your device and make sure all of your data trip data is there. The last piece of syncing with your device is to check and see if there are any firmware updates. And the way that we do this is with a utility called Garmin Express. And Garmin Express is very powerful, particularly if any of you own multiple Garmin devices. If you have a Garmin watch or a traditional handheld device like the GPS map series, with your inReach Mini, you can also connect that to Garmin Express. It will go and look at the support site for Garmin. It will determine if there's a firmware update for your device. Prior to this presentation, I got my inReach Mini out and I connected it, and it told me that there was a firmware update, and so I downloaded that to my device. Just let Garmin Express manage your firmware updates on all of your devices. And the instructions on how to do that are right there, pretty straightforward. Install it, plug in the device, and it will detect it. Excuse me. We're going to look at messaging next. And there are several different types of messages that we can send. With the inReach Mini, we can send custom messages, and just wait for the slide to update here. There we go. We can send custom messages. That is when you want to type in the details of what's happening. That's a message that says, you know, I'm at the waterfall and I'm having lunch and it's beautiful. You type that message out. That's custom. You can send that to your contacts on your phone or on your device. There are also predefined messages. Now, a predefined message comes in a couple of different formats. One is a preset or a check-in message, and those you have up to 3 on the device, and those can be things like, I'm starting now, I'm finishing, I'm checking in, everything's okay. And those are really useful because you can have an unlimited number of preset messages from any of our plans, whether it's a safety plan all the way up through Expedition. Those go to a fixed set of recipients, so you may choose to send them to your family and a couple of friends. But like I said, you just quickly select preset 1 or I'm checking in, everything's okay, and that message will go out, and that's included in the data plan. The other type of predefined messages is called a quick text message. And a quick text is really just like the title says, it's a message that was written ahead of time so you can select it quickly and send it. You don't have to, you know, certainly with an inReach Mini, you don't have to scroll up and down through that vertical scrolling list of letters and numbers to type out the message. You can just pick it from a list and reply to somebody. So the one that I use the most, and we're going to look at how to set these up, but the one that I use the most is the I'm checking in, excuse me, it's the I got your message, I can't reply right now, I will as soon as I get a chance. That's a great quick text because that's a lot to type. I don't have to type it, I just pick it. And then I use that because I like people to know, well, I received your message, I'm okay. They don't have to worry that something's happened and I can't respond. So this next screen is showing how to manage those presets, and you see there's the preset side on the left and the quick text message side on the right, and it's quite straightforward. You just you can edit those messages, and I do that by clicking the edit button for preset. It brings up the dialog. I can change the message. I can specify who's going to receive that message. When I'm finished, I hit done. Then for creating or editing quick text messages, I can pick one. I hit the edit button. I can edit the text and add it to my list, and that's very useful. It lets you customize the messages that are available on the device. You can also control your contacts with the Explore website. That's where you go to add in contacts. As I mentioned, it's important to have those contacts on the device so that if something happens to your phone, you can send a message to them. These are different than your emergency contacts. You manage those through the account settings, not through the contacts list. So that's, you know, definitely the 2 emergency contacts are special. That's who Garmin IERCC interacts with. Looking at how to send a preset, here's just some quick instructions on how to, you go into the messages page, you choose new message, you can choose choose the send preset message, and then you pick from the 3 presets that you put in the device and you hit send. Very straightforward. Those messages, while sending a preset is unlimited, if someone receives a preset and replies to you, keep in mind that does count against your monthly message allotment. 10 with safety, 40 with recreation, unlimited with expedition. Quick text messages are similar. You can either send a new message or reply to somebody, and all you do is pick the quick text option from the menu, and then you choose one of the 20 that you wrote. I can't reply now, I'll write later. Is, like I said, that's the one that I use, and then you hit send. And those are also, those count towards your message total. So it's sending a quick text message from the app, from the EARTHMATE app. This one works similar. You go into the messages page when you choose the conversation and you start to compose the message. There's a little lightning bolt in the lower corner that just updated. So you see the lightning bolt, that's what you choose, and that gives you access to your list of 20 quick text messages. Keep in mind, you can also choose to enable sending the location with your message. If you're sending someone a reply and where you're standing is relevant to the message, you may tap on the location icon to include your coordinates. That allows them to click on a map link when they receive the message and see exactly where you're located. And then you hit send. This note here is just to remind you that even though you're using the app, you need to have your inReach device paired and connected in order for the message to go out. The EARTHMATE app allows you to compose, but it's using the device to send. Looking at how to send a custom message with the inReach Mini, and this is showing us the instructions for that is, just wait for the screen to update. So to send a custom message, there we go. You go to the messages page, press OK, scroll to messages from the home screen, and then you can select new message. You can enter in the contacts who are going to receive it. When you go to write the message, you use that keyboard with the vertical scrolling alphanumeric lists, and then you hit send at the end. And we're going to look a little bit here on this next screen about using the inReach Mini for autocomplete and suggested words. And so the first thing, and we'll wait again for these slides to update and give it a second. But what you want to do is start typing, and so you'll see in a second that I've typed MEE for meat, and the device has the ability to suggest, perhaps you meant to type the word meat. And so if I press and hold the OK button, that will move the selection from the vertical list. And this is a shortcut, and I hope people have discovered this. Press and hold the OK button, it moves the highlight into that list of words. Then I can scroll up, I could choose meat or meeting. After I choose meat, then it actually suggests the next word. It's not just auto-completing what I've typed, it's suggesting that maybe I want to say you, and if I pick that, then it will suggest additional words. And it's a great shortcut, particularly on this device, because it is a little bit challenging to type text, that we can suggest the next word and help you more quickly type your message. And then when you're finished, you choose that check mark to send. Also going to look at the EARTHMATE app, and here you'll see the real benefit of using your smartphone connected to your inReach Mini, because the touchscreen of the touchscreen of your phone is just a lot more powerful and fast and convenient. So when there you go, the screen updated. So you choose messages, you can select the contact that you want to send to, you can start typing using the keyboard. So meet you at the trailhead is very easy to type on your phone. And then you can also, as I mentioned, you can choose to turn on the location. And then when you hit send, that will take that message and it will send it over Iridium using your paired and connected inReach Mini satellite communication device. And then a note there at the end about how you do have to have the Mini connected. When we look at tracking, there are some terms that we use for inReach tracking that are important for people to understand. hopefully all of you have discovered the send interval and the log interval. And the difference between the two is that when you're tracking, if you are sending points, you are sending them over the inReach, the Iridium satellite network, and that is by default, that's going out once every 10 minutes. So your send interval is how frequently do I send points to the map share page where my friends and family go to watch my activity. By default, we actually have logging turned off to extend your battery life, but we have a send interval default of 10 minutes. So I start tracking, every 10 minutes, my location gets sent to the map share page. If I turn on logging, I could turn on a 1 minute log interval, and then every minute, a high detail point gets written to my device. Doesn't appear on the map share page, but I do have access to it. I have access to it on my Mini and in my EARTHMATE app, so I can see more detail on, say, how to get out of the woods or that sort of thing. So send goes to map share, log goes onto the device. And then there is an auto track option, which I mentioned. I like to use the auto track option to be able to see, when I turn on the device, it automatically starts tracking. I don't have to remember to do that. Great when combined with aviation and connected a powered device, a powered mount. I put the inReach Mini in the powered mount, and then when I start the vehicle, I provide power to the aircraft. My Mini will turn on and start tracking. The note there at the end is important. Make sure you have the recreation plan, because otherwise you would pay 10 cents for every track point, so it's 60 cents an hour. And then extended tracking we talked about already. That's the way to extend your battery life, by having the device turn off logging, turn off Bluetooth, a bunch of different things to get you better battery life. The tracking page, this next screen, when it appears, will show you the controls from the tracking page. You press enter, you select OK, and then you can start tracking. You can also use that to stop tracking. You can use it to send your map share to friends and family, that sort of thing. From the EARTHMATE app, you choose tracking from the menu, and you can choose start and stop from the title bar, and that remotely controls the inReach Mini device that you're connected to. Look at navigation here, and this is how you create waypoints on the Garmin Explore website. The first thing you do is tap that new waypoint icon that's in the title bar. In a second, the screen will load and we'll be able to see that view. The new waypoint icon, when you tap on the map at the place where you want to create your waypoint, brings up a little dialog, and that dialog will allow you to create a name, change the symbol color, and save it. And that then becomes part of your user data, which you can then later sync onto your inReach device. The next set of slides talks about how to create a waypoint in the EARTHMATE app. And that one is a similar process. You choose menu. From the map, you can choose to mark a waypoint, and then you can change its name, you can change its symbol, you can save it onto the app, which will then, when you're inside cellular, sync it to the website. We'll also sync it down to the device. The same process can be used to create a waypoint on the inReach Mini itself, and you can do that by either pressing OK from the home page and choosing it as a menu option, or you can choose location, the location page on the inReach, and choose Mark Waypoint from that menu as well. Similar to the app and the website, you can edit the symbol, you can change the name, you can choose done, and then that will sync between the system, the different parts. To navigate to a waypoint, we'll look at those screens for the device and the app. To navigate to a waypoint, you can choose OK from the home page, you choose navigate, you select the waypoint. We're really just showing you the details on each of the devices on how to do this, but it's about using that home page menu, choosing the activity that you want to do, whether it's marking a waypoint or navigating to that waypoint. Select it, pick the waypoint from the list and choose navigate, and that will allow the device to start. It will create the route and it will show you the bearing to your destination on the Mini. It will draw the line highlight on the map for the EARTHMATE app and help guide you to your destination. So as part of the planning step then is how do we create a route on the Explore website? And you can do that using the new route tool that's in the header bar of the Explore website. Tap on that, and then it really just allows you to tap out the shaping points of the route. And so you see here in this example, from going from the car to the summit of Mount Madison, you tap a handful of points to follow the trail. That creates the route. You can change the color, you can give it a name, you save it, and then you can sync it to your device. And that would be one of the options. Rather than navigating to a waypoint, you can navigate the route with your device. And then the next screen will show us on the device and the app how you navigate the route. Very similar to how we navigate the waypoint. From the home screen, we press OK, we select navigate, we look for our route list where we just created that route on the website, and we can choose the route, we can choose to navigate, and it will start updating the device with information. It would also update our map. And you see here the Explore app, the EARTHMATE app having the navigate option as well. A tip on using the inReach Mini, one of the features that I'm very pleased with and we want to make sure that all of our customers know about is the trackback feature, the trackback capability of the device. When you take your inReach Mini and you turn it on, that's an important part, and you start tracking, that is actually recording a track, but it's recording a log that you can use should you get turned around in the woods. If you should get lost and you need to find your way back to your starting point, back to where your vehicle is, someplace familiar, you can, from the home page, press OK. You can choose navigate, and much like you could navigate to a waypoint, you could navigate to a route, you could use trackback as a navigation option, and that takes the track that you created when you walked into the woods and it turns it into a route, and it shows you how to follow that route back out of the woods. So this is a very an important feature for people looking for that safety kind of breadcrumb trail to find your way out of the woods. The next piece we want to talk about quickly is MapShare. MapShare is a web page that people use with their friends and family. So you enable MapShare on your Explore website. There are some controls that you can use. We'll look at those for how to configure your MapShare. You enable MapShare, and then you can do things like create a custom URL to send people, share.garmin.com/where's Chip, that kind of thing. You can control settings that allow you to specify whether someone can send you a message, whether they can locate you. You can control what of your collections that you've created show on the website. Really customize the experience for your friends and family so that when they go to MapShare, they see the adventure that you're planning as well as the breadcrumb for what you have, how far you've gone so far. They can use MapShare to send you a message. So it's a great way to post your MapShare link to, say, social media. You could put it on your Facebook page, and then all of your friends and family will know that you are on an adventure, and they can send you a message while you're out. And then a note here is that sending that MapShare link for many people is the most efficient way to let friends and family know that you're out without you having to send them a message to begin with. So ways to share that URL, you can share it with social media, as I mentioned. You can also send your MapShare from the tracking page of the inReach Mini. You can choose your contacts and send it, and they'll receive Chip is sharing his location on MapShare and a little link for them to follow. Weather forecasts, another feature that we wanted to talk with people about. Weather forecasts are very powerful. There's 3 different types of forecasts. There's a basic land forecast. There's a premium land, which has a additional charge. It also has a longer duration, so more days of the forecast appear. There are also marine forecasts. These are really designed for people who have gone offshore. It's not a coastal kayaking kind of weather forecast. It's more like someone who's taking a boat offshore. So you do have to be 5 miles offshore to get that forecast. But that will give you things like your precipitation, your temperature. For the marine, it will give you wave height and wind speed, important details for them. Some steps on how to request those forecasts from the app and from the device. Using the inReach Mini, you can go to the weather page, you choose OK. That will show you a list of any locations you might have requested previously. You can update that location. You can get a forecast for your current location. You can also specify whether it's basic, marine, or premium. The weather forecast in the app is similar. You go to weather, you can either update an existing forecast or choose a weather forecast for your current location. Same options around basic, premium, and marine, whether you've requested it from the Mini or from the EARTHMATE app. One more section for folks who haven't had a chance to see our inReach SOS webinar at a high level. The inReach Mini, certainly like all of our inReach devices, are capable declaring SOS. I have my inReach Mini device. I can open the SOS door. I can push and hold my SOS button. It starts my countdown timer. We can hear the beeping. I will cancel it so that emergency response does not come to the office right now. But that is the process. Open the door, push the button, wait for the triangle. Whoops, off screen. Wait for the triangle to appear. That's my countdown. And once that message is sent, as soon as that pop-up appears, it will continue to send that message even if I don't interact with the device again. And the Garmin IERCC will receive that message. They will be able to start a two-way communication with me. They'll ask the nature of my emergency, if it's medical, is it equipment failure, things like that. They will start interacting with local area search and rescue. They will start interacting with my emergency contacts, and really just become the hub between myself in the emergency and the local area search and rescue that's coming to help. It will take advantage of the 100% global Iridium coverage. It will allow tracking. All of these pieces, there's a note there at the bottom making sure that if you can provide additional details, as we talk about in our SOS webinar, it's all about getting as much information as possible to search and rescue. But if for some reason you can't interact with the device, they'll continue with the rescue. It is not a requirement that you have that interaction. Excuse me. Goodness. Let's see. Take a drink. So, and I got a little bit ahead of myself, but to declare the SOS, you can trigger it by, like I said, lifting the protective cover, pressing and holding the SOS button, waiting for the SOS countdown timer, and then a message is sent to the Garmin IERCC. And when you're finished with your emergency, then you can choose to cancel the SOS, and that lets local area search and rescue and the IERCC know that you've resolved the situation or help has arrived and you no longer need assistance. From the app, one of the things you can do with the app is also trigger SOS. There is an SOS slider that is in the app, and that's really to make sure that there's two physical actions. We don't want accidental SOSs to be declared, so it's not just a single tap in the EARTHMATE app. It's a press and hold the SOS slider, slide it to the side. It starts that same countdown timer, so you can cancel the SOS if you decide that, like I didn't actually need to declare the SOS. And then you can have a conversation using your phone for a convenient text messaging. And you can also cancel the SOS if you need. One of the features that we have built into the SOS capability of the device is there could be a situation where the Garmin IERCC actually sends you the phone number of local search and rescue where they may have a question, they want to talk to you directly. And so they can send a phone number. And when you receive that, that phone number will appear in the conversation thread. And then you can choose from the conversation thread the entry where the number is, and one of the options will be to send a message to that number. So you don't have to try and remember the number and go and type it out. You can just pick it from a menu. So a little convenience that we've added there as well. This last slide is just to make sure people understand one of the really powerful features of the inReach Mini. This 3.5 ounce device can connect to my watch, my Phoenix, like you see here in this picture, and I can then use my watch as the remote control. It's actually called the inReach remote widget, and it will allow me to start and stop tracking, send a preset, read an incoming message, even declare an SOS from my watch, from my Garmin Edge cycle computer, from those pieces, from my Garmin Pilot app, from my chart plotter. It's very powerful to have such a small device that still has all of the inReach capabilities, and it can bring those to other Garmin devices. So that's really what's special about the inReach Mini. And then if you want to view the full list of compatible devices, you can see that all on the Garmin.com website, and certainly instructions on support for how to connect the inReach Mini to each of those devices. Additional resources that we talk about at the end of all of our webinars available at these locations. The Garmin Explore website, we talked a fair amount about that now. That's for planning, for your plan and account details. The Garmin support site, that's where you go to view all of your help documentation, manuals, videos. You can see lots of prior webinars, just like this one, covering lots of different topics. And then my favorite location is the Garmin blog. That's where you can go to read about all of our inReach users, the adventures that they are on, and we even have folks who have had SOS incidents who have generously agreed to share those stories with our subscribers, so we can all learn more about how inReach works.